Tired of jumping through hoops to buy Bitcoin? Frustrated with endless paperwork and invasive identity checks? Introducing Bitcoin Ben Crypto Club's loan program. No KYC required. Say goodbye to the hassle and hello to freedom. Borrow up to $250,000 at as little as 7% interest. Join our community and take control of your financial future. Bitcoin Ben Crypto Club, where privacy meets opportunity. Connect with like-minded individuals and grow together. Visit us today and unlock your $250,000 Bitcoin loan. Your journey to financial freedom starts here.
Good morning. Welcome to the Bitcoin Ben Thursdays with Dr. J, and I'm Dr. J. Today we have a conversation about some big events that are happening, right? You have seen Bitcoin price movements. We discussed that. But there's something bigger happening, which is Bitcoin is no longer just an instrument. It's becoming a fork, in civilization, the way we understand it. Now, there are big companies like 21 Million Capital, this new company that has been formed by Jack Mallers and supported by Tether and SoftBank and a bunch of guys in suits. And then we have, they're following the MicroStrategy approach because MicroStrategy has been the first horse out of the gate to capitalize on this Bitcoin revolution. So I want to talk a little bit about and give you a little bit of understanding into what is happening in the corporate world, how they view Bitcoin, how they intend to make money with it, and perhaps have a conversation around, is that a Trojan horse to take away the very ethos around which Bitcoin was built, which is it gives us freedom. It gives us the ability to control our money. It gives us the ability to not have the government or the bank control who we can send money to. So when, the Trump administration met with a lot of the Bitcoin leaders at that summit, the White House summit, that was a big deal. It spawned a lot of things, and we're starting to see those effects. So when we talked about price this week and how Bitcoin's breaking up and all that stuff, there are much bigger factors, folks. There are much bigger events that are driving that kind of a movement. That movement does not happen because small players entered the market. It happens because big players entered the market. So the very first thing is when President Trump actually met with these people, that alone was a historic event. It was historic because no other administration, and certainly not the last one, they were devaluing Bitcoin's legitimacy every corner they could. So if you think about Bitcoin as an emerging new world, and for White House to recognize and simply meet the leaders of that new world, that alone is a huge victory. And Scott Bessent, who is a strong supporter of digital assets held by the government, is also a strong supporter of removing the legacy, and I say legacy because it's 2 years old or 3 years old, regulations and laws that are being passed, legislation that's being passed to block Bitcoin from becoming successful. That's the way I saw the Biden administration. Now, the Trump administration has come in and said, you know what? We're going to remove those legislative barriers that stop enterprise, that stop people, that stop companies from thriving in this Bitcoin economy. And by doing so, you're starting to see the obvious effects. Companies like 21 Million, which perhaps have been in the making for a while because they keep looking at Michael Saylor running out. It's like a horse race where he got a 4-year head start and they're starting to catch up. But now they have the environment within which they can thrive. Now, if that's good or bad, we'll kind of do a deep dive on that. But look at what Trump is doing. He said, I'm going to remove the legislation that restricts Bitcoin from growing, from becoming mass adopted, from becoming a store of value. Not only that, I'm going to actually, he announced, this is the president of the United States announced that he's going to have a strategic Bitcoin reserve, which means Bitcoin is now going to be a national asset like gold. And the White House is saying so, and they're acting towards it. Not only are they saying, we're going to hold all the 250,000 odd Bitcoin that we have from confiscations and other assets that we have in the government already. We're not going to sell it, folks. They're making a very public statement. We're not going to sell it. We're going to hold it. And not only are we going to hold it, we're going to find ways to acquire new Bitcoin and put it into our strategic asset. This is an absolutely incredible thing that is happening. Just to put it in context, this type of support for any technology or anything new has probably not come from the White House in the last 100 years. So the fact that Bitcoin is getting this kind of support is certainly a civilization change kind of an event. This is monumental. Look, 10 years ago, 12 years ago, I was in a company where we sat down as a little company and started saying, hey, people are going to buy stuff on the internet. Now today, those of you who are listening to this, some of you might relate to that. We would look up information on the internet, but then we would run to JCPenney to actually buy the product, or Sears. Hey, both of them don't exist anymore. The malls don't exist anymore. Our thesis at that time was that people would buy stuff on the internet, and hundreds and hundreds of new companies emerged based on that thesis that people would buy stuff on the internet. Entire ecosystems were formed. Companies made millions of dollars. More millionaires were produced because of that upheaval, that change, which changed the way we buy. The same thing is happening today, and you are on the forefront of it. You are front running it. The change is that anyone will be able to send money to anyone else on this planet, anytime, anywhere, and any amount. Now think about it. When you have a tenth of a Bitcoin in your wallet and you want to send $100 to a friend in Indonesia, a friend in Australia, you can do that right now, this instant. You're not waiting for that bank to open, to walk into it with your little passbook. By the way, people used to have passbooks where they would stamp, showing my age. But you're not waiting for the banker's hours for the fat cat to roll in his car and say the bank is not open. Oh, gee, it's 2:00 and your wire transfer cannot go. Or, oh, by the way, the PayPals and the Venmos that can be shut down because we don't like your politics. So if you understand the power of that statement, that you as an individual can have money, a stored value that no one can take from you, no one can touch it. It's protected by this 850 exahash force field called the Bitcoin network. No government can take it away. No tyrant can take it away as long as you have the private key. I love that word, private key. Private key. Yeah, we got to do something around that branding. As long as you have that private key, it's your money. And not only that, the Bitcoin is immune to all kinds of natural degradation. So your money is safe and it stores value. And not only does it store value, you can't break it with an earthquake like a building. You can't destroy it with a flood. You can't rust it. You can't kill it. It's there and no one can take it. And the best part with the Bitcoin network, you can send it to anyone, anywhere, any place, right? Any amount. You could send $1 million or $1. Doesn't matter. And there's no intermediary, right? It's truly distributed. So you don't have to pay money to PayPal or Venmo or Zello or Zelle. It doesn't matter. This is profoundly different from the world we know and the world we live in. And this difference is going to spawn new businesses. And Bitcoin Ben Crypto Club is going to be part of this revolution that is taking place. Think about it. What do you guys have as members today? We have a Bitcoin purchase program. We can go and buy Bitcoin for you. We can deliver it to your private wallet, no KYC. It is only a matter of time, folks, when Bank of America and Wells Fargo and the big banks that you put your money in are going to have to announce, hey, you can buy Bitcoin through Bank of America. You can buy Bitcoin through Wells Fargo. And guess what's going to happen? It's getting there. There's going to be a sucking sound from the savings account, and everybody's going to go and buy Bitcoin. And Bitcoin's going to go up in price. When will the banks be able to do that? The banks will do that when there is a regulatory environment within which they can do that. A supportive regulatory environment. Kind of like the one that President Trump is putting together. Yes, exactly. So Ben and I always have this conversation. There are always three legs to the stool. There's the idea, there is the capital, and then there's the government, the regulatory aspect of it. When all three come together, that's when magic starts to happen. The Bitcoin idea has been there for a long time. Capital is starting to flow in. It's now a $2 trillion market cap. By the way, the dominance is off the charts, right? Dominance is relative to all the other cryptos. You know, how does Bitcoin dominate? Dominance is at an all-time high. Ether is at an all-time low. So the men and the boys are getting separated here, folks. We want to be in the right camp. So I bring that up, firstly, just to set the environment within which this 21 Capital, this is the biggest news in the Bitcoin world today. This was announced yesterday, Jack Mallers. So 21 Capital, I want to tell you a little bit about it. So those of you who have not had the chance to do a deep dive or read, I want to share with you what they're doing. So 21 Capital isn't, just a firm with a slick logo and dreams of grandeur. It's a very specific investment entity that is being formed, perhaps even as a Trojan horse. And I'll think about that and tell you. But it's basically they're leveraging public equity markets to buy Bitcoin. They want to buy 43,000 Bitcoins, and they want to get basically four things. They want to get institutional adoption, which means they want to get institutional money. They're basically leveraging Michael Saylor's core thesis, which is chaos. He talks about geopolitical instability drives and feeds this machine. What does it mean? It means, look, as long as there's chaos in the world, Bitcoin will be fed. And since the thesis is that chaos in the world never goes away, as long as the history of man before that, wars have existed, destruction has existed, floods and famines have existed. So as long as there are wars and there's strife and there's conflict and there's storms and there are earthquakes and there are volcanoes, chaos in this world will continue to be there. There's nothing you can do to remove it. And when chaos occurs, what happens to the asset? What happens to that land that you buy that just got flooded or destroyed in an earthquake? It loses value. Companies, you think you have equity. You own a share of a stock. What does geopolitical instability and chaos do to your stock value? When the Gulf of Hormuz, where all the oil comes from, gets shut down because the Houthis shot a bunch of missiles in there. Well, it makes me very nervous. It makes me very nervous. And what do I do when I get nervous? I start selling my shares and the stock market goes down, right? So chaos breeds situations where any other form of asset gets devalued. Your land gets devalued. Your stock portfolio gets devalued. Anything that you think you have gets devalued because of the forces of chaos, entropy, instability. That's the world. And here's this Noah's Ark called Bitcoin, which can't be hurt with a storm, which can't be flooded, which can't be destroyed. It's a digital asset that stores your value. That's pretty impressive, right? So now suddenly the big boys, the big money is starting to realize that. Gee, I can't stop these guys. The dreamers, the libertarians, the guys who have literally cradled Bitcoin. It has not always been an easy path. I was watching that movie yesterday. Once again, that which was published in 2016. What was it called? Cryptography, Cryptomania, something like that, about the history of Bitcoin. And man, there were so many brave warriors, courageous people who went to jail, who were taken because, oh gee, my supplier did something on Silk Road. I mean, Bitcoin being here today where it is a path which is littered with dead bodies, with brave soldiers who believed in freedom. So as we stand here and as you look at your Bitcoin wallet and say, gee, my money is multiplying, thank those people who have stood before you to actually make this real, to make this solid. The regulatory clarity is coming. The inflation and entropy is driving people to a safe asset. And this heightened interest in Bitcoin is not just about another new product, another new ETF. It's really about a story of survival. Bitcoin has survived the harshest blows over the last 10 years. And yet, here we are. And this is sort of interesting to see because, Michael Saylor, who's really an amazing crusader for Bitcoin, he certainly talks about freedom. He talks about keeping on buying it. He's a smart guy. Very smart. And he talks about the balance between volatility and price, right? So people ask him, hey, because you're evangelizing Bitcoin, you talk about it. Look at this now, 21 million is entering the market. Aren't you worried about it? And his answer is, no, I'm not. Not only does he have an enormous runway ahead of, that he has already traversed, he's ahead of the game. He was the first horse out of the gate, but he's not worried because of this very simple reason. See, with profit is nothing but the price you buy it at, the price you sell it at, or the value, and the difference is your equity, right? You can have all the equity you want. He gives the example of buying 40 blocks in Manhattan in the 1700s or the 1800s. It was $2 a square foot. Fast forward 100 years, now it's $2,000 a square foot or $200,000 a square foot. Does that mean my value went down? No, the price went up, but now I have other players in the market. So you're always trading risk, which is volatility, with the price. So as more players come into the market, as corporates come into the market, what happens to Bitcoin? The volatility, the risk is decreasing. With every investment, the risk decreases. So Bitcoin is probably still one of the most volatile assets, right? It goes up, it goes down, it goes, compared to, let's say, Microsoft. What does Microsoft do? If you look at their CFO, the chief financial officer, he's like, oh man, we don't have any volatility in our stock. We're so good because we have predictable cash flows. And how do we predict it? Well, we make sure every one of our customers gets a 3-year contract and we renew 1/12 of the contracts every month. And we have a consistent outlook and our stock remains consistent because we know that this much revenue is going to come in next quarter, the quarter after that, and the quarter after that. So basically, you take your P&L, you look at your cash flow, and you say, look, since the revenues are consistent, the stock should not go up and down too much, and therefore it's less volatile, and therefore it's good. Well, that's not really true. People trade volatility. In fact, Bitcoin is highly volatile right now, which is why you can issue, Michael Saylor can issue a bunch of convertible notes. Why? Because you're trading volatility. What is a convertible note? It converts into a Bitcoin if a certain limit is hit on that conversion price, right? So he's issuing hundreds of millions of dollars worth of convertible notes that allow him to get capital, which is great. But here's the real advantage. When that capital normally comes into a company, so if I'm a company, I'm the CEO of right now, Bitcoin Ben Crypto Club, but before when I was CEO of a different company, when I issued a convertible note, right? I got a bunch of money and I said to investors, hey, investors, I'm going to put this money into a project I'm going to build. It's going to take 18 months to build. Then I'll build a sales force. Then I'll do such and such. And then eventually in 3 years, I'll have a bunch of cash flow. And that was called the cash conversion cycle or the investment conversion cycle. So from the time I issued this convertible note to the time that I actually generated cash from it was 3 years. In the world of Bitcoin, that's just not true. From the time you issue a convertible note to the investment actually gaining value is days. So the cash conversion cycle is tiny. So I can go ahead, pay off the investors with the price movement, and then go and issue another note. Normally, you can't issue another note for another 5 years, right? 3 years, because that's your cycle to show that you did something useful with the first note. Well, now you can keep on issuing every week if you wanted, and the Bitcoin price goes up. Look at it, what happened in 21. Michael Saylor went out and issued notes, I think at $48,000 was the price of Bitcoin. Bitcoin drops down. He's a big boy. What did he do? He doubled down on it. Guess where he is now? He doubled down on it. Bitcoin had dropped to $28,000, $22,000. He doubled down on it. So that's really an amazing strategy. And as the price went up, he paid back his investors and he had a whole bunch of capital left, which is called equity. So that's the context within which 21 million is being born. Majority owned by Tether, Bitfinex, and SoftBank. These are not small companies. They're raising about $600 million, $585 million between debt, about 385, I think, is debt, and 200 million they're raising through something called PIPE. PIPE is nothing but another instrument. It's called Private Investment in Public Entities. So they want to go public because there's more transparency, but they're still getting private investment. That's only a polite way of saying we're going to let the rich people into this club, not the little guy, right? That's what a PIPE is. And what are they offering? Unlike MicroStrategy, which right now trades at 1.8 times net asset value, it's called NAV value. These guys are saying, so in other words, the Bitcoin against the dollar, MicroStrategy stock, if you buy that, you're basically buying 1.8 times the asset value. That's the price of the stock. So the stock is, paying a premium for it. So what these guys at 21 million are doing is they're saying, we're going to come out of the gate and we're going to offer to our private investors a 1x NAV, meaning we're going to give you no premium. I mean, you're going to basically buy it at cost, but it's not for the little guy because the little guy doesn't get to invest in pipes, do they? Goldman Sachs goes to their big guys, their big investors, their whale, and says, hey, there's a real good opportunity. It's like an IPO, right? It's a pipe. You want in? Here's for $10 million. And by the way, you won't have to deal with the private keys. You won't have to deal with a Bitcoin wallet. You won't have to deal with, managing your account. You won't have to worry about whether it went down, went up. You'll just buy this beautiful instrument created by 21 million, which will give you exposure to Bitcoin. And it's going to be operated. It's going to be run. They're going to create new products with that Bitcoin in their asset reserve, right? And that's what it's about. All right. I'm going to take a quick break after our sponsors ad. I'll come right back and we're going to delve deep into comparing 21 million with MicroStrategy.
Hey, Bitcoin Ben Crypto Club members, are you ready to take your crypto game to the next level? Well, buckle up because we've got something huge for you. As a member of the Bitcoin Ben Crypto Club, you're already part of the future of finance. But what if you could stack even more Bitcoin without waiting? That's right. We're talking about exclusive loans designed just for you. Through the Bitcoin Ben Crypto Club, you can apply for a fast member-only loan. Use the cash to buy Bitcoin right now while the market's hot, and watch your stack grow as the revolution unfolds. It's simple. Call us, get approved, and turn that loan into Bitcoin. Pay it back on your terms while you HODL like a pro. Why wait for the moon when you can fuel the rocket yourself? This isn't just a loan, it's your ticket to owning more of the future. And because you're part of our tight-knit community, you get VIP access to rates and support outsiders can only dream of. So, what are you waiting for? Grab your phone and call or text 941-413-6920 to apply now and start stacking SATs today. The Bitcoin revolution waits for no one, especially not you. Bitcoin Ben Crypto Club, where members don't just HODL, we build. See you on the blockchain.
And we're back. So, guys, I know that we're getting technical today. We're trying to understand what corporates do because it is important for us to understand how to play the game, who to trust, and we're going to come down really to the acid test as to who holds the keys. But before I go there, let me give you a couple of things about what I read in the sort of the prospectus of 21 million. So their core thesis is that they're going to strategically accumulate Bitcoin, not just random buys, calculated moves, focused on two things. Jack's going to maximize for his shareholders the Bitcoin per share. So just like you have earnings per share, there's a new metric that's going to be called Bitcoin per share. And he's going to look at the risk, the Bitcoin BRR, which is the Bitcoin rate of return. Okay. So what is he saying? These are the two metrics by which we're going to measure our company. Bitcoin per share, maximizing that. So in other words, when you buy a share of my company, we're going to tell you how many Bitcoin it represents. So when you buy one share of my company, it represents 0.5 Bitcoin. And next quarter, when I send you my annual report or my quarterly report, and I do the filing, and I can show that the Bitcoin per share has gone from 0.5 to 0.7, gee, your share is worth more. Send me my bonus check, right? I'm the CEO. Send me my bonus check. I increased shareholder value, right? And that is just fancy words. Fancy words. When as a CEO, I had to always say that we are beholden to our shareholder value. Yeah. We are committed to our shareholders. And what does that mean? It simply means that we are going to make a ton of profit and we're going to give that back to you. But it really doesn't matter what else we do in the meantime. Does it take away your freedoms? Does it, we'll hold the keys. We're not giving them to you. Keep the money, right? We are shareholder friendly. We want transparency so that you can pour more money in. But at the end, we're creating long-term value for you. We're not a pump and dump scheme because in this world of private investments and public companies, there's a lot of pump and dump stuff goes on. All these, shit coins and meme coins. I mean, that, you come in and go out. What these guys are saying up front is, look, we understand that's the world, but we are a different kind of public company. We are creating a real company which will have transparency, which will have a lot of Bitcoin. And what are we going to do with our Bitcoin? It's basically a private reserve of Bitcoin for the rich people. Okay? It's no different from the strategic Bitcoin reserve that President Trump is making for we the people. At least when it's with the government, it's a reserve that is owned by we the people, right? It's not the Federal Reserve, which is neither federal nor reserve. But 21 million, in my opinion, is essentially a reserve of Bitcoin that is held by an operating business for a large number of private investors, well-funded, large private investors who have never been part of the Bitcoin culture, who don't know what Bitcoin culture means, who don't really care about freedom. What they care about is, can I create different instruments using this asset, which I've now stockpiled, right? And can I make loans against it? Can I create derivative products with it? Can I create structures that allow me to transfer money between companies in a more inexpensive way? After all, Jack Mullers came from where? He came from Strike. That was a company that basically used Bitcoin and Lightning Network to move money around. So he sees himself being the next Visa. He sees himself being the next bank. He sees the guy who's going to loan against Bitcoin and all around Bitcoin so that Bitcoin per share goes up. That's his only game, right? Now compare this to Michael Saylor's company, Strategy, which used to be MicroStrategy when it used to sell software to governments. Actually, Larry Ellison used to do that before he built Oracle. So anyway, he calls it Strategy now. The company's called Strategy, and they're sitting on, well over 500,000 Bitcoin. And he came out of the gate almost like a, monk who watches the Bloomberg terminal, right? He still wears his suit and his orange tie. He goes and meets President Trump, but he still talks about Bitcoin not as a asset, not as a commodity, not as a currency. He talks about it as digital property. It's your property. It's as real as this gets. And by the way, this is kind of important. Many of you do not know the difference between a security and a commodity. For those of you who don't, just understand that Bitcoin is a commodity. It's like grain. It's like wheat. It's like gold. It's like sugar. It's a commodity. Orange juice if you live in Florida. And what that means is that we're not regulated like a security. Your stock is a security. Your bonds are securities, which are governed by the Securities Exchange. Now, the reason my brother Ben and I can sit here and talk about Bitcoin and share with you and tell you to go buy the damn thing and hodl it and invest with it and get into Bitcoin is because we are not governed by the securities laws. Securities law says if you aren't a registered broker and you don't have a Series 7 and you don't have a blah-de-blah-de-blah, you're not allowed to push a particular stock or Bitcoin, and you have to declare all kinds of things and that you're aware of. So understand, Bitcoin is a commodity, but more precisely, it is a digital property. A digital property is really important to understand because that is your property. No one can take it away. Now, even with land, guys, when you own a piece of land or a house, you think it's yours? Think again. Oh, I'm not talking about just the mortgage guy, which you got to pay every month to make sure that you don't get thrown out of your own house. You don't default. You don't have to do a short sale. But let's say you're completely paid up. You got a piece of land, you paid for it, it's yours. Oh, think again. It's not. Because every year, you're paying tax on it. And if you don't pay that tax, well, they put a lien against it, a tax lien, right? And they can take it away. Or eminent domain. Gee, I got to put a little road right between this land of yours, and it's under eminent domain. These are regulations that the government put into place. Well, that's not what our Constitution said, folks. Life, liberty, and the right to property. It's not right to property. You don't own it. if you got to keep paying, and if you don't pay that, they take it away from you. No, folks, digital assets like Bitcoin are true property. You can't, once it's yours, it's yours. It stays on chain. It stays because you hold that private key. Now, is that true for any of these companies, whether it's Michael Saylor's company or whether it's 21 million? No, sir, it's not true. If you really apply that test, who really has the keys? This is why Ben and I tell you, listen, when you buy this digital property, put it in a wallet that is yours. You self-custody it. You don't let Mt. Gox, you don't let Coinbase, you don't let any of these exchanges, because the exchanges can be regulated out of existence. But when you hold that key to your wallet, no one can take it from you, right? So while we are going to leverage the new products and services that the 21 millions will bring into play, we are always going to look at it with a little bit of skepticism, because while MicroStrategy is being a fortress, they're holding the coins. They're not talking about creating new forms of instruments and operational company. They're a true fortress. They're the Fort Knox. Whereas 21 million is more of a vault, a banker, ready to lend, ready to leverage, ready to rotate capital. Is this a good thing? I think it's a good thing. You know, it's not a bad thing. It's good that people are entering this market. It's a good thing because as more people come in, the volatility will decrease. You know, if you borrow against your Bitcoin, you won't get that margin call because it's not whipsawing up and down. So one of the big advantages of these players coming in the market is that you'll start to see the volatility of Bitcoin decrease. And as you see the volatility of Bitcoin decrease, more lending can be done, more instruments can be created, more leverage can be had. Oh, by the way, that's another thing about these commodities. You can not only buy it, you can lever the heck out of it. You can take a 50x leverage if you wanted, if somebody was willing to give you that capital. You can't do that in regulated markets as the SEC, right? So there are advantages and disadvantages of doing this. And really the question comes up, do we trust them? Do we trust them? Now, I personally don't. I don't trust them. I don't trust them because of one simple reason. Because they hold the keys. They, you know, when you'll be buying a share of MicroStrategy, or you are going to buy a share of 21 million, yes, it's convenient. You didn't have to do the hard work. But they're not educating you. They're not giving you the control of your coin. They're giving you a piece of paper. Just like when we used to have banknotes which were backed by gold. Today, gold trades on the exchange like a ticker symbol. People have even forgotten that you can actually hold that little gold bar and put it in your own house, which is where the real value is. When you buy that piece of paper, you have no idea what contracts govern it. None. When you go and actually buy a share of gold on an ETF, you have any idea what regulates that? Who the counterparty is? Where the contracts are being settled in Belgium? Is it being done through the Bank of International Settlements? Does even your broker, I don't care if it's Robinhood or it's E-Trade or TD Waterhouse, do you know who actually holds the contracts that says, yeah, you're an owner of this share, and what happens if this share disappears tomorrow? I'll tell you 9 out of 10 people have no clue about it. And so this is why I always use this litmus test when I look at these businesses. And when corporates get involved in this stuff, Bitcoin was born out of rebellion. It was born out of freedom. It was born out of the desire to be independent of the man in the big building, that he could not control me. It was about control, and with control comes power. And guys, always ask yourself, I'm not going to say whether you should invest in MicroStrategy or not. I'm not going to tell you whether to invest in 21 million or not. I think if they have good products we can loan against, where our Bitcoin can be held in safe custody for a period of time and it advantages us in doing so, we will do so. But the litmus test is custody and control. Okay? 21 million does not promote self-custody. They don't educate their shareholders on multi-sig wallets. They don't tell you anything about running a node or getting into Bitcoin mining. They just slap a prospectus together which says, hey, I'll take away your pain. You want to be in Bitcoin? I got you. Just put your money in and I'll take care of giving you a greater return on your Bitcoin per share than Bitcoin can. Because I'm going to use your Bitcoin and lever it up and I'm going to do loans against it. But guys, look at this. Bitcoin is going to continue to grow 30 to 60% for the next foreseeable, probably at least 5 to 10 years. So I think if you simply buy your own Bitcoin, hodl it, keep it in self-custody, sit pretty, and do absolutely nothing, you're going to get a pretty decent return. Okay? But here's how it becomes really interesting. Simply looking at a number in your wallet doesn't actually pay your bills. To get that true financial independence, you need that value to actually get you money that you can spend, that you can do things with. And this is where the creative products that we are bringing to the market, like we have the mining program, it allows us to use certain partners to actually go and put the Bitcoin where it stays Bitcoin. It's still your Bitcoin, but we can borrow money against it, put it into investments for mining, put it into investments for beef, for food supply, put it into investments for cash flow generating assets like hotels, like beach resorts. And those are generating cash that are paying you back every month. Now that's a pretty good thing because you are holding on to your Bitcoin. That doesn't go away. And you're leveraging your mini MicroStrategy, your own mini 21 million strategy, and not handing over the keys to someone else. And therein lies the rub, folks. Why Bitcoin Ben Crypto Club members? We are a private membership. We're creating the same strategy for you that 21 million and is doing it at an institutional level for the big cats who don't have their own keys. See, they don't realize that. They're like, oh, my Bitcoin per share price went up. It's just become another ETF. It just becomes another yield generating mechanism, which actually risks your Bitcoin in doing so. Which is why I believe that our private members who are able to hold their own keys, who understand what a multi-sig wallet is, who can work with our lending partners. And by the way, we talked a little bit about homes, about, your house can erode. And when you have a house that is paid up, if you have at least 40% equity in the house, we're putting programs together. And we're going to announce this very soon, where you can borrow against that equity. We have partnerships that we are developing just for you. These are not things Wells Fargo can do. These are not things Bank of America, these are not things Citibank is going to come to you and do. We have structures that will allow you to take a part of your wealth that is in your home and move that effectively into Bitcoin exposure, into Bitcoin. And you will hold that Bitcoin. You will have the keys and you will be able to borrow against it and you'll be able to generate cash flow from it because your home loan that you take against your own equity will be at a much lower rate than the 30 to 60% that your Bitcoin is going to generate. And that spread is pure profit for you. That spread gives you financial freedom. That spread allows you to sit on a beach and not have to go work for the man. I need to take another break, Zoltan. All right, we'll be right back.
Ever wondered how safe your online activities really are? How secure is your digital footprint? In the vast realm of the internet, privacy and security are paramount. Without adequate protection, your personal data might be at risk. There are solutions to these issues, and today we're going to talk about two of them. Introducing Liberty laptops from CALIX Solutions. These cutting-edge devices are meticulously designed to bolster online privacy, providing you the liberty to surf the internet incognito. The World Wide Web can be a wild frontier, but with Liberty laptops, your online privacy is always protected. We also present you crypto laptops, designed with cryptocurrency users in mind. Equipped to support a myriad of wallets and exchanges, these laptops are tailored for seamless cryptocurrency transactions. They offer enhanced security protocols to keep your digital assets safe. Crypto laptops ensures a secure and smooth cryptocurrency experience. It's time to take control of your online privacy and security. Venture over to CALIX Solutions and explore our Liberty laptops and crypto laptops. Don't forget, our affiliate program lets you earn $50 per sale. Visit calixsolutions.io now or call 7028458276 for more information, because your online safety is our priority.
And we're back. So in the last 10 minutes or so of our program, I want to talk about, Saylor has seen himself as a digital pharaoh. I don't think he's going to sell out. I think he is definitely building a massive war chest and a reserve that will start to dovetail at some point with the U.S. government, its treasury, and so on and so forth. But what are we going to do as members of the Bitcoin Ben Crypto Club to take advantage of, to leverage this once in a 100-year opportunity to create generational wealth? What are we doing about it? Well, folks, in the last 3 months that I've been CEO here, we put programs together. We put programs together that are purely designed to benefit you, our private club members, starting with a Bitcoin purchase program. So I'm going to summarize a few of these programs that we have, and I want you guys to call us, engage with us, because we are creating these value-added services for you. You are members of or if you're not members, become members of the Bitcoin Ben Crypto Club. You need to have Bitcoin. That's the very basic foundation of why you are even here. Why did you get educated about Bitcoin? Now that you know what you know about Bitcoin, what are you doing about it? How are you increasing your own stockpile of Bitcoin? We have a bulk purchase, no KYC Bitcoin program. No one else has that. No bank has that. We do. You can call that number on the screen, send us money. We accumulate it for our members. We put it as a package, and we go and buy Bitcoin on bulk. We send it off to your private wallet after we purchase it. It's a terrific program. You can go to your bank right now, folks, and tell them, hey, I've got $10,000, $20,000, $50,000 sitting in my savings account. Wells Fargo, would you go and buy Bitcoin for me, please? I'd like to hold it. There is no such thing. Well, at Bitcoin Ben Crypto Club, there is such a thing. You call us, you wire us the money, and we will go and purchase that Bitcoin for you. This program is effective right now. And thank you for many, many of you who have already purchased Bitcoin through us, and we have sent it to your private wallets, and we have moved millions of dollars already in buying Bitcoin. It's a very wonderful program for our members, exclusively for our members. You have to be a member, okay? Some of you came and said, well, I'd like to buy Bitcoin. I get the story. I know what Michael Saylor is doing. I'm seeing Bitcoin go up like crazy, but I have something called life. I don't have the money right now. I'd love to put 10,000, 20,000, 50,000 into it. I just don't have the money. So I heard you guys. Ben heard you guys. And we said, you know what? We're going to put a program together that allows you to work with qualified lenders to lend you the money at a lower interest rate than where Bitcoin is going. So if Bitcoin's going to return 50% and I can borrow at 15%, that's a 35% of free growth and the value of Bitcoin going up that you just received. So we created a very simple strategy to short the fiat and go long on Bitcoin. So call that number and say, hey, listen, I want to take a loan. I've got decent credit. Doesn't have to be great, decent credit. We have, then that's 680 is the cutoff. But we have programs right now with our lenders, anything from credit cards with 0% interest up to 2 years. There's not even an interest on it. It's borrowed money. We've structured these deals and we're bringing it to our members. They also have term loans. And normally these term loans, let's say you said, oh, I want to take a $150,000 loan because I want to buy at least 1.5 Bitcoin. Normally those are 3 to 4 years. And that's not a bad deal. It's like you buy a car and you have a 3-4 year payout term period. But we have negotiated deals 7 to 10 years, even 12 years in some cases. And what does that do? That reduces your monthly payments to nothing. So if you borrow $100,000 and you got a 10-year payback period, you guys can do the math. It's a small amount. You're basically leveraging the growth you're going to see in Bitcoin and borrowing the money right now so that you can buy the Bitcoin, get the growth, and pay month by month a tiny amount. But you have the full 1.5 Bitcoin and you're going to catch that growth cycle that is going on right now. We have programs to get you money that you need to go buy the Bitcoin. So that's in place. We put a third program in place, which was if you have accumulated at least 5 Bitcoin, and this is for some of the bigger members who have been listening to Ben since 2017. He talked about Bitcoin going to $100,000. People thought he was crazy. Well, folks, he was not. He was seeing things that were coming, and he continues to see things that are coming. So listen to what we have to say here. So when you actually create that portfolio where you have at least 5 Bitcoin or so, we can get you into Bitcoin mining. Bitcoin mining allows you to actually mine your own Bitcoin. We have structured deals with big public companies that run hosting facilities in Kentucky, which power is cheap in Kentucky, and the government of Kentucky, the state government, has given subsidies for Bitcoin mining. They actually have bills that say we're going to not charge them interest or we're not going to tax them on it. So mining in Kentucky, in Texas, where there's wind power, where we can get lower cost of power and still be in the United States, which gives us geopolitical stability as we put these hosting servers and wires and electric power, 250 megawatt plants that are making these ant miners generate Bitcoin. We are printing our own money. We are printing our own money. We are printing Bitcoin. We are creating and mining these things on behalf of our members. That's happening right now. We've already deployed multiple millions of dollars into that program. Okay, that's available. You say, okay, well, my interest is in maybe getting a clean, healthy food supply for my family. We're putting the Bitcoin plus beef program, where literally for about half a Bitcoin, 0.05 Bitcoin, which is $5,000, you can get a complete year's supply of the cleanest non-mRNA jabbed organic beef from Texas and Montana. We have partnered, and it's called the Bitcoin Ben Herd. So you not only get a year's supply of beef with that $5,000 investment for a family of 4 for the entire year. You get 4 shipments per year. Every quarter, you get about 120, 125 pounds of beef. We give you a refrigerator along with it with your first purchase. And you get every quarter, every 3 months, you get 120 pounds of beef, 125 pounds of beef. So you get 500 pounds of beef over the course of the year in 4 shipments for $5,000. That's less than $10 a pound. You can't get that beef wholesale anywhere close to that price. Go to your supermarket and see what the price is. But that's not all. You get a token. You get a Bitcoin beef token, which has value, and the value increases because at the end of when you put that $5,000, we actually go and purchase a calf, a baby cow that grows up over the next 16 to 18 months. And then we sell it, and the profit that's made after the meat is paid for, after the feed is paid for, if there's a profit left, we have a profit share between the rancher, between us, the Bitcoin Ben herd, and the investor, the person who put the $5,000. So if there's a profit made, and we can't predict what that profit's going to be right now, 18 months from now, of course, we don't know what the price of beef will be. We don't know what the market's going to be. But when there is a profit, and there usually is, a percentage of the profit is going to go back to that token. So as the herd keeps growing, as more of you come in and say, yes, I want clean beef for my family, your token value is going to continue to grow. We are tokenizing and digitizing the food supply. We have programs like the Bitcoin Ben clubs that are sprouting all over the place. We now have, of course, Sarasota, Nashville, Boston. We're opening up St. Louis, Dallas, Las Vegas. And our intention is to continue aggressively expanding clubs across the country because that brings more members. Every time a club opens, that's more members. More members means more capital, more people who can participate in these programs we're talking about. These clubs need capital to build. These clubs need owners. You have the opportunity to invest into these real estate plays, these clubs, these physical clubs in these different locations. You have an opportunity to invest into hotels and resorts that generate cash flow that we are building in places like El Salvador and beyond. These are programs that we are putting together. We are putting together a new lending program for potentially leveraging your equity in your house. That program is not out yet, but we are very close to putting it together. And certainly we want to let our members know that that'll become available to you to go and take the equity from your house and buy a lot of Bitcoin. And then when you buy a lot of Bitcoin, we'll tell you how to leverage and borrow against it while keeping it in Bitcoin and generating cash flow. These are products and services that no bank can offer you. In fact, we don't know of anyone else who has these capabilities today. So come become a Bitcoin Ben Club member if you're already not a member. And if you are, please pick up that phone and call or text and let our folks know that you're interested in one program or another. These are all available to you. And we would be more than happy to get back to you. And oh, by the way, I'm going to leave you on a happy note here. We believe that our club members will benefit from us potentially going in the direction of being able to manage, transfer money without the aid of the big banks. And what that means is that we would need to have our own licenses and rails to transfer money between banks or to transfer money from credit cards into our accounts. And we are looking at partnerships there as well, which will also be another program that will become available for investments from you, where we start to become a quasi-bank. I won't say we'll become a full-blown regulated bank, but there are certain aspects of a bank, a credit union that we like, and those are things that you will have an opportunity to invest in as well. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, have an amazing day. It is a beautiful time to be alive. You are on the forefront of civilization changing events that are happening. Bitcoin is real. It is here to stay. It is here for the long term. And those of you who get in now on the ground floor are going to create a legacy, and you're going to do something amazing for the people of this earth, because Bitcoin is about freedom. It's about ownership. It's about creating a force field and a shield that no tyrant and no government can break into. It is about creating digital property that is yours and for your families for generations to come. Don't miss this once in 100-year opportunity to be part of this revolution. This is just the ground floor. When you see that price ticking up and you go, oh, gee, Jade, were you able to put my order in last week? Folks, this is just starting. Don't fret about whether you bought it at 90 or 92 or 89. It's going to make no difference when this thing plays out. Stay in it for the long term. Now, if you want to be a trader, be a trader. That's okay. But if you truly want to be a Bitcoin maximalist, which is what we are, you buy that Bitcoin, you hold on to it, and we'll find ways together as a community to leverage the heck out of it while still holding the private key. That private key is everything. Don't fall for all the colorful objects that you see up in the market that take away your private key, because that's what they want. Power and control. Don't give it to anyone. And if you don't give it, they can't take it. God bless you, and God bless America.
Ever wondered how safe your online activities really are? How secure is your digital footprint? In the vast realm of the internet, privacy and security are paramount. Without adequate protection, your personal data might be at risk. There are solutions to these issues, and today we're going to talk about two of them. Introducing LIBERY laptops from CALIX Solutions. These cutting-edge devices are meticulously designed to bolster online privacy, providing you the liberty to surf the internet incognito. The World Wide Web can be a wild frontier, but with LIBERY laptops, your online privacy is always protected. We also present you crypto laptops, designed with cryptocurrency users in mind. Equipped to support a myriad of wallets and exchanges, these laptops are tailored for seamless cryptocurrency transactions. They offer enhanced security protocols to keep your digital assets safe. Crypto laptops ensures a secure and smooth cryptocurrency experience. It's time to take control of your online privacy and security. Venture over to CALIX Solutions and explore our LIBERY laptops and crypto laptops. Don't forget, our affiliate program lets you earn $50 per sale. Visit calixsolutions.io now or call 7028458276 for more information, because your online safety is our priority.